the organization of your classroom is really important to how efficient it runs, and also making the most of your space so you can have a place for boys and girls to have a variety of learning activities each day. Let's take a look at some classroom arrangements that you may have seen before or would like to choose for your own classroom one day. This is a traditional classroom, and you still see this once in a while where we have their desks all lined up individually in rows. Some of the benefits of having our students individual is they have space to work on their own, and it works for classroom management when you have a very chatty classroom. I personally have never had a classroom that looked like this, because if you see here on our classroom, the aisles are pretty narrow, and if you're trying to travel around the classroom, there's not a lot of space. So you don't really have space to sit on the carpet together for your read alouds. You don't really have space for learning centers. Your space is primarily taken up by your desks. And because I like a collaborative classroom where the students are working cooperatively, this doesn't really match my philosophy. But you'll still see this in classrooms. When we move on, here is maybe the next step of variations. You can see the desks are forming little L's. And we do have our desks here that they can work collaboratively. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 kiddos. That means this would be, a class of about 24 kids, which is probably what we would have. And then over in this area, we have our classroom library. And this is where you'd have your bookshelves, and they could have a listening center and a library center. This would be your guided reading table over here. This would maybe be another kind of work table for centers. I see that we have a computer table for technology that could also be your writing table. But you see, we have lots and lots of options for furniture when we take a classroom and we begin to group the desks together. I would say probably in that classroom library we would also do the teacher read aloud, so the teacher would have her rocking chair there or a comfy chair, and the boys and girls would sit on a carpet. This is another variation of that classroom environment that wants collaboration. We have groups of 4 for our desks, and you can see we have 5 groups of 4, so this is a class of 20, which again for a kindergarten might be what you would actually have. Back in the corner we have our guided reading group, and we have that rug with the library and the listening center right here. Okay. We have a computer area, and it looks like we have like a little nook here that has been set up by bookshelves for maybe a writing center or place where supplies are kept. And the teacher has her area back here that's separate from everyone, and that's good because that keeps boys and girls out of a teacher's things. So lots of nooks and crannies in this room, and that's cozy. Another version would be if you have tables. So we have tables here, and typically a table seats 4 to 5 kids. So this would probably seat about 20 boys and girls. We have one of those great rainbow rugs, so each child knows their space. And on that, at the front, we have our smartboard. The teacher's desk is up here, and then we have our library area, and we have our reading area, and this is probably cubbies and things right here and shelves. So not a lot of space in this classroom, but definitely usable space. Another variation, again, would be the rectangular table, and they can typically seat 4 to 6 students. And we have 4 of these, so you're about up to 24 kiddos in this classroom. We have our rug for read alouds and group activities. Looks like this is probably the library area with some shelves over here, and looks like there's maybe some small little things that are throughout the room. Lots of empty space. If we go back to that first slide you saw with the rows, there wasn't a good flow, but you can see here we can kind of move around the classroom pretty well. and make our way without bumping into each other. And that's really important, especially if you have a student that's in a wheelchair or on crutches. All right, our last example here has our students in groups of 4, and we have 20 kiddos in this classroom. And then we have our library center in one corner. Corners are great for the library center. It allows you that cozy little nook. In the other corner we have guided reading area. Then we have a math manipulative or just a table area. So you see shelves and you see a table that they work in. This also has a floor time. So we have our rug with the sharing area for whole group learning. This room actually has a lot of things in it, because this could even be a learning center or a writing center area. Here's the dramatic play center. So maybe this is an extra large room, but the layout works really well. And again, if you talk about that flow of how you're going to move through the classroom, you can see that we can kind of move all the way through the classroom without too much trouble because things are spaced apart. Okay, so which layout did you like best? What I'm going to have you do now is go to the next slide in our presentation, and I have links to some floor plan designers. So bring out that interior designer and think about what your ideal room would look like. Do you have bean bags? Do you have tables? Do you have desks? Do you have bookshelves and sofas? What would you like that dream classroom to be? Go there now and see what you can plan.